If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. All right, let's bring in a friend of the program and a friend of mine. He is Greg Jarrett. He's a legal and political analyst for the Fox News Channel, also author of several bestsellers, including Trial of the Century, that is still obviously available now on Amazon or wherever you get books. Greg, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Joe. Good to be with you.
So there's never anything to talk to you about from a legal perspective, but I figured we could conjure up something today. I watch media a lot, and it's funny how now, just like the media circled the wagons for James Comey, even though he was one of the most hated men in Washington by both Democrats and Republicans. But, if Trump is coming after him, or at least they charge that this is a Trump-led thing, then, of course, they're going to take Comey's side. And now, obviously, we're seeing that with John Bolton as well, who was considered one of the, biggest neocons and war hawks, especially during the Iraq War that liberals hated. Suddenly now he is being turned into a martyr. But this case, and I've seen you several times on Fox during the week, you're the go-to guy on this, along with great legal minds like Jonathan Turley. This looks pretty bad for Bolton, and I wonder how much a jury will consider that the argument by the defense seems to be that, well, this was politically motivated by Trump. He just wants retribution against his so-called enemies, and therefore motive should be considered here. But I'm not sure. I think if you do something illegal, it's illegal, and motive shouldn't matter in this case, even if motive is even a factor here.
Yeah, motive is not actually a factor. So, for example, if he says, oh, well, oops, it was accidental, I didn't really know about it, it was sloppy on my part, that doesn't matter under the law because the Espionage Act has two different provisions, and you can be prosecuted and tried and convicted for intentionally mishandling classified documents or negligently. You would think that after, the notorious Hillary Clinton case, General David Petraeus, who pled guilty to mishandling classified documents, that people like Bolton would be extra careful because he had access to the nation's top secrets. But when you read this 26-page indictment, my Lord, he used email and various messaging apps to send documents classified at the highest level, top secret, involving military launches and future U.S. attacks, covert intel operations, strategic communications, confidential travel documents, and even he had documents about weapons of mass destruction.
Wow.
And, not only did he keep it, allegedly, illegally in his personal possession, more than 1,000 pages. So we're not talking about, 6 or 8 pages. No, 1,000 pages. But then he shared it with two relatives, purportedly it's his wife and daughter, who do not have security clearances. And, the cherry on the cake is that his systems were actually hacked. And a foreign enemy obtained the classified documents. Now, that is stunning evidence that can be used against him. Not only did he threaten to jeopardize national security, he did jeopardize national security.
Yeah, and we're talking to Greg Jarrett, and that foreign enemy is Iran, I believe, right? So that's
it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was using, you talked about a private server, AOL? That's still a thing? AOL accounts? I mean, I remember the 90s. I think my mom had one, but the private notes being on there. My goodness gracious.
You have mail, you know?
Yeah, you have mail. I saw Trey Gowdy last night when Sean Hannity asked him to predict what he thinks is going to happen to Bolton in this case, and he said he's going to spend the rest of his life in a federal prison, and was very non-ambiguous about it. So just based on what you could see, and obviously the defense is going to put forth everything in a trial, but in the end, does this, if you were to guess on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 gets off completely, 10, the Trey Gowdy prediction around spending the rest of his life in a federal prison, where do you come down on right now?
Well, it's too early to say. I'd prefer to wait a little bit, see what the defense is going to be. Now, he's hired Abby Lowell, who has defended, look, I knew Abby years ago. He and I appeared together at a symposium and argued with one another. He's a fine lawyer, but, even he couldn't save Hunter Biden. Who in the end, was convicted and pled guilty on a second case. So, I've heard the remarks from Abby Lowell principally that, these are old documents and they were pre-approved. Well, first of all, it doesn't matter how old they are. Some of the JFK documents recently declassified have been classified for more than 60 years. They're either classified or not. It doesn't matter the date on them.
Good point.
Second of all, pre-approved. Well, there's really no such thing as pre-approved. I think he was referring to Bolton's book that allegedly contained classified information. Bolton has always claimed that, somebody, unnamed, on the National Security Council reviewed his manuscript and said, all classified material has been removed. There's no documentation of that I'm aware of. And there are rules in government where you have to seek pre-approval with a manuscript, and it goes through a lengthy process of not just the National Security Council, but other intelligence agencies. And Bolton allegedly didn't do any of that. And in fact, the case went to court. And a federal judge, was poised to issue an injunction when all of a sudden the publisher went ahead and pushed out the book. Yeah. And the judge in court threw up his hands and said, now it's moot. It's out there.
Who authorized the publishers to move forward? Because when we write books, our publishers always check with us on certain things, right? Like, ultimately, did Bolton authorize? Oh, go ahead. It's all right. Don't worry if they're investigating it. I wonder.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor like the steamfitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage theft, and daily working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
Ah, Smart Water. Pure, crisp taste.
That's really good water.
It's the kind of water that says, I have my life together.
I do feel more sophisticated.
Smart Water. For those with a taste for taste. Grab yours today.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original. which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Well, nobody really knows. I think that if I had to guess, the lawyers for the publisher said, go ahead and do it. We'll cite the Pentagon Papers case.
Right.
But regardless, the defense will be that somehow somebody approved the book. Well, what about all the other 1,000 documents in his home and office? That doesn't account for all of that. So that strikes me as an incredibly weak defense. And, of course, he'll pull the usual James Comey playbook, motion to dismiss because it's selective prosecution, it's retribution by Donald Trump. That's an uphill battle for a defendant.
Yeah, and we're talking to Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Finally, just on this topic, the judge means a lot, it appears, in cases lately. We've seen Democrats go judge shopping just to get favorable opinions on XYZ. Is the judge here known yet? And if so, do we know their so-called political leanings or background?
Yeah, I think it is a Biden-appointed judge, or at least a judge appointed by, a Democrat president. And look, in an ideal world, it shouldn't matter. Nope. But in politically fraught cases, and this is one of them, the political leanings of the judge who presides do indeed matter. We know that anecdotally in, an endless number of cases. And so, the same thing with the James Comey case. It's in front of, a friendly umpire, District Judge Nachmanoff, appointed to the bench by federal Joe Biden. And, you have to remember, this was Joe Biden's Department of Justice that ran interference for people like Comey and others for ignoring and ignored corrupt acts for so long that it was barred by the statute of limitations.
Goodness gracious. And we mentioned James Comey before. Obviously, an indictment came against him in September and Letitia James just about a week ago or so. So these things are coming in fast and furious. Of the three cases, which do you see as the one that puts the defendant in most jeopardy? Because Letitia James also, that case, that seems pretty open and shut as well. I mean, when you say that your dad is your husband on a mortgage application and you say that a primary home is your primary home when it's actually not, that seems pretty straightforward, but again, you see cable news networks that are not called Fox saying, well, obviously this is just Trump trying to get revenge against Letitia James. It seems like, on paper that she probably broke the law. I know we can't say that, and she's innocent until proven guilty, but that also looks as bad as almost the Bolton case.
Yeah, the Bolton is the strongest case, clearly. Letitia James, I would rank second, because when you tell a bank that your home is primary or secondary to get a lower mortgage rate, but you actually rent it out, that's fraud. You're lying to the lender who is deceived about the financial risk. And the documents incriminate Letitia James. She can hardly claim, sloppy paperwork, because she's on record as Attorney General stating in no uncertain terms that that's never an excuse. Even worse, last year she issued a public statement declaring that everybody, all Americans, cannot lie to a bank to get a mortgage, and powerful people cannot cheat to get better loans. So, her own words will come back to haunt her in court. And think about what she did. She campaigned to get Trump. What does that mean? She is promising to abuse her office if elected, to target a specific individual, even though at the time she made that statement, she had no access to files, no evidence. She hadn't even been elected. She preordained an outcome. And now, of course, she has the audacity to complain that Trump is weaponizing the law against her. She and Comey and Alvin Bragg invented lawfare.
Precisely. And now she's fundraising a lot of money off this and playing the victim. We're talking to Greg Jarrett. Okay, Greg, I like to have fun as we get to the end of our interview. So I want you to rank, okay? I'm going to give you the top 5 lawyer/trial movies of all time, okay? On my end. And you can tell me, hey, Joe, you missed this, okay? But I want to see you rank these, all right? I got 12 Angry Men, okay? I have The Verdict. That, of course, was Paul Newman back in the 80s. Anatomy of a Murder, which is profoundly awesome as well, where you have James Stewart, obviously, in the lead role. To Kill a Mockingbird, which, is an absolute classic that I watched not too long ago. And then my top, however, is My Cousin Vinny, which I watched with my daughter, who now wants to be a lawyer. Little language problem aside, I have that as my number 1. But am I missing any on here?
No, I mean, look, just off top of my head, you've named some very good ones. I always rank Gregory Peck's portrayal of Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird as, one of the best lawyer films ever. It was really quite moving portrayal, and the book, of course, is a classic. I love Paul Newman, and that was a wonderful portrayal by him of down and out, alcoholic lawyer who finally pulls himself up by the bootstraps and presents an incredible case in court. You're right about My Cousin Vinny. It was just, it was so classic events in the South, and how a guy from Brooklyn or the Bronx or whatever, goes on down there and wins the case. I mean, it was really incredible. So no, all of those are really, really good.
Absolutely. Films. And I also watched A Few Good Men. Again, my daughter, just turned 12, but she loves these trial movies. So now I've kind of been going through the whole gambit. I forgot about A Few Good Men, which obviously Jack Nicholson wins, Best Supporting Actor. Tom Cruise should have won Best Actor. Demi Moore was awesome in that. Just a great film there as well. But either way, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, thanks so much for joining us on short notice. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon again, my friend.
Okay, pal. Take care.
Thanks for listening. The Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Morning Show. You can hear the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Morning Show. Sunday mornings at 10. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.